Hey there friends, Angus here from Addio Media and welcome to another snackable version of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you all about why you should be organising your knowledge and your patient care protocols into a system, a framework or a plan. Now in a moment, I'll explain exactly what I mean about that. Now you might remember a couple of weeks ago, I talked to you a little bit about the concept how sometimes the best product doesn't win. What actually wins is the best communicated product. And I spoke to you a little bit about the Betamax and the Sony wars. Now just a little bit of a review here. These were video playing machines. For those of you that were perhaps born before 1985, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, it was a really old way that we used to have to watch television or pre-recorded shows. Now here was the thing, the Betamax unit was the first to market. Not only was it the first to market, but when it came to the audio and the video of watching the movie, it was by far more superior than Sony. However, Sony won because they had a really great marketing story. Now, when it comes to telling a story, a framework or a system is really helpful. Now let me share some systems with you and you can see if you know what I'm talking about here. Now we'll begin with this, one of my favourite books of all time from Stephen Covey. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Another one of my favourites here from Nathaniel Branden, it's called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Here's a third, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, Al Ries and Jack Trout. Are you starting to get an idea of maybe what I'm talking about? I'll give you 2 more, okay? Here's another one here, 7 Steps to a Pain-Free Life. And then the final one here, it actually communicates its system in the subtitle. It's talking about your personalised 4-step guide to looking good and feeling great from the inside out. Now what each of these authors has done is they've organised their content into a system. Now Stephen Covey could have just written a book on how to be highly effective, but he didn't. He broke it down into the 7 steps of being highly effective. Now when we break our information down or our knowledge or our protocols down into a framework like this, 2 really important things happen and that's why I want you to do it. Now firstly this, is it provides massive amounts of clarity. So if I'm going back to that Stephen Covey that I talked about, for example, where I wanted to learn how to become more effective, when I know that there's just 7 steps, it takes away some of the confusion that might happen. And when it comes to marketing, and particularly when it comes to confusion, clarity is king. When you confuse, you lose. We want to do everything we possibly can to minimize our audience's having to think. Now, thinking requires the brain to burn a lot of glucose, and the brain is incredibly energy dense. It needs a lot of glucose to keep it running. And if there's a choice between just switching off and burning glucose, then unfortunately many of our visitors, many of our potential patients, many of the people watching our videos are going to switch off. So when we create a system, when we organize our knowledge into a system, we provide clarity. Now the second thing that it does, is just as importantly, is it builds a level of authority, expertise, and it differentiates you from the other practitioners in your community. So instead of being like all the other chiropractors, I've actually got a system. It's my 3-step system to help you get well and stay well. Now when I position it like that too, it adds value. Now, my contention is this, you've probably already got a system, you've probably got a protocol, you just haven't stopped to think about what it is. So let me give you some suggestions about what I think that your protocol might already be. It's this, it begins with an initial consultation. And on the initial consultation, what do? We take a thorough history and we run some tests. The second part of your protocol is this, is you do some things for the patient. So maybe if you're a chiropractor, it's some adjustments. If you're a naturopath, then maybe you've got a protocol of the supplements that you do. Chinese med, maybe it's your acupuncture. And the third part is probably this, there's some home advice. And the home advice might be to do with stress management, might to be with nutrition, it might be to some exercises. So instead of you just saying, listen, come on in, start some chiropractic care with me, you might position yourself, say, listen, we have a 3-step process that we work with our patients to help them get the best results in the least time. Step number 1 is a thorough examination so I can find out exactly what's going on. When we know what's going on, we can move into step 2. And step 2 is a specific course of chiropractic adjustments designed exactly for you. Part 3 is where we really maximize our results because you're going to have a personalized at-care plan for you at home, where I'm going to show you what exercises to do to strengthen the weak muscles and what exercises to do to stretch the tight one. Now, all I've done there is I've communicated what most of you are probably doing anyway into a system. And when I communicate into that system, remember the two things that it does. It provides clarity for our patients, and it positions you as an authority, as an expert, and it differentiates you from the rest of the chiropractors in your community or whatever profession that you are. Now, we should be communicating this system not only to our patients face to face, but we should be communicating this system on our videos that we're creating. We should be communicating this system on our website. Wherever we're talking to our community, we should be communicating our systems. So your homework for today is this. Sit down, think about what are the steps that you take your patients through and how can you break that down into a system. Now, we might be thinking about how many steps should it be? Should it be 2, 3, 4? Well, the examples I gave you before there, I think went all the way from 4 was Paul Chek's, all the way through to 22. But I think the sweet spot, probably for what we're talking about at this stage, is 3 to 4. When we get beyond that, we can actually bring in some complexity that removes from the clarity that we started with. So see if you can break it down into 3 or 4. And you might want to follow the guide I said before. Step 1 was initial examination. Step 2 was a program of care. Step 3 was some home care as well. Now, if you have some other very specific things you do in there, you might want to sneak it out to 4, but perhaps don't go any further than 4. Now, if you want a hand with this kind of stuff, then you might want to join me inside of Sprint. Now, this is Project Sprint. I spoke to you about this last week, and we just started. We started on Sunday. One of the things that we're doing is working our way through the design of a patient converting website. And one of the things that a patient converting website has is it has a plan and it communicates your system. Now, once you have that, you can run that system into a lot of the videos that you're creating. And then in week 2, next week, we're going to start on this concept of the patient journey. How do we take someone from complete stranger and turn them into an ideal patient? Now, we've got a much better chance of being able to orchestrate that when we're really clear with our communication. Now, if you want to join me inside of there, it's small group coaching. You literally have daily access to me. You can email me. I've set up Marco Polo video chat, so you can send a little video with questions for me. Once a week we get together as a group on Zoom. There's a heap of different ways that you can reach out to help. So if you want kind of hand holding, so you can start 2020, you can hit the ground running. If you want to sort out your marketing blueprint but have me help you through it, then I would suggest that you get on board this week, because I'll stop taking people coming in next week because we'll be too far into it. So adiomedia.com/sprint, you can join me and a bunch of other wonderful people. That's enough for today. Get work on your system, get to work on your system and your framework. As always, gang, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. See you next week. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now, you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.